is time through week 6. This is the third way through the season. Let's give
Yep.
some early season awards. Let's start off with the MVP for the Steelers so far. I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going chalk. I think this is the guy that most people would talk about, and his numbers aren't as gaudy as they've been in the past. But my MVP for the Steelers so far this season is T.J. Watt. He's been a steady presence in the defense. This past game alone just shows you how great he's been with the 2 forced fumbles, and he's a great player who's constantly making his mark on each game that he plays. So he's my MVP. Who do you got for an MVP so
Yeah, I
far
have
this year?
TJ Watt as well. I mean, he's
Okay.
just been phenomenal. Like you said, he hasn't had the numbers of sacks like we usually see, at this time of the season, but he's definitely been a presence on that defense to where he's, forcing turnovers and things like that, getting a few sacks that he already does have, and being that key guy, and the main guy, for that defense. I mean, he's just phenomenal. I've said it before. I think he's right now the best defensive player in the game, and I think it's just maybe just been a little slow start for him, but I think his things are going to pick up for him, especially after having those 2 forced fumbles in that last game. I think things are just going to pick up for him as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest one here. This one I think is a lot tougher and it's a
Yeah.
lot meaner. Who do you got for the least valuable player so far this season?
I think it's George Pickens right now. I mean,
Okay.
I haven't seen much from him. Just we're getting to that point where he's acting and getting a little bit of drama like he was last year, and we're getting the same shit again. And it's like you're supposed to be our wide receiver one. You gotta be, you gotta keep your cool and actually you know do something and make some plays and things like
Yeah.
that. Let the emotions get to you and things like that, and don't let the any drama and stuff make things worse for you. Through on the when you're off, just having training, from a game and things like that, and just gotta be a little more smarter and things like that. I just don't think he's been the guy, right now on offense. I think he hasn't been who he needs to be as our wide receiver one right now.
Yeah, I did think about him. He so far this year he's got 26 receptions, 363 yards, no touchdowns. But I just as you're looking at his numbers, let's look at receiver 2. Van Jefferson on the season, 8 catches for 62
Mhm.
yards. That's not even a good single game.
Yeah.
And you bring him in here, he's a veteran guy. You're hoping he can come and do something, and he just has been non-existent. So he's the guy I went with for LVP, least valuable player. Maybe some guys on the line we could have went to. There's some other players that haven't been too loud that you hope they can get more involved defensively. Someone like Joey Porter Jr., who hasn't been bad, so that's why he wasn't my answer here. Minka hasn't had a turnover in a while there, but I didn't think it was. I don't think they've been bad enough to give them that, so I went with receiver here too, and I went with Van Jefferson for my LVP.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, so now how about biggest surprise? I'll go first on this one. I was looking defensively at a couple guys here, and I decided to go with Deshaun Elliott. I just didn't expect him to come in and be a great player, and he leads the team in tackles at the moment. He's the leading tackler on the Steelers at the moment. He's got himself an interception. He seems to be around the ball a lot. He's got a tackle for loss. He's my guy, Deshaun Elliott. How about you for biggest surprise?
I was kind of picking between him, Dante Jackson, and Nick Herbig. I was kind of just in there. I think Nick Herbig is probably my guy right now. We got to see a little bit of him, last season, but I think with him stepping in for Alex Highsmith while he's injured, I think he's just been a great edge rusher on the other side of TJ Watt, especially he had that nice 2-sack game against the Chargers. I think he's just been phenomenal in there. He's been the guy that surprised me to actually come in for an injured Highsmith, who is great as can be, and to kind of fill those shoes right now and make plays like that. So I think he's been my big surprise so far this season.
And then we'll end it with the 2-parter that we've used before. Who's someone who needs a step up, and then who's somebody who's going to step up. If you want, you can make it the same person. I think I'm gonna have two different guys here. So who do you think someone who maybe he's not your LVP, but who do you think needs to step up, and who do you want to step up? It can be it could be Pickens too, if you'd like that.
I mean, yeah, I would like Pickens to step up. He definitely needs to. I think the guy that needs to step up, somebody we haven't heard too much, especially on the defense, is Patrick Queen. I want to see more from him. And I think he needs to step up to get a decent contract that he's gotten from this offseason. I think he definitely needs to step up. And I want to hear his name called a little bit more, making some turnovers, getting some sacks, things like that. I mean, yeah, he's making tackles and things like that, but we haven't seen much of him. And I really think, you acquire a great defensive player, especially a linebacker like that, during this offseason. I think he's somebody that, his name should be called and he should be out there, making big plays, and we haven't seen anything. So he's the guy that, for me, needs to step up. I think the player who will step up is going to be Minkah. Minkah right now, I believe, leads the team in tackles from what I saw or something. And sure, he's making tackles, but like you said, he hasn't had any turnovers. But I think things are going to, turn around for him. Last season, he didn't have, the numbers that he usually has, or he had some injuries and things like that. But I do think that he is going to step up as the season goes on. Somebody else that needs to step up is George Pickens. I don't know if that'll happen though. But he does need to. But my two guys, I think, who needs to step up is Patrick Queen, and who will step up is Minkah.
Yeah, with Queen, he's second on the team in tackles, but yeah, you're right. He hasn't made those loud plays, like the big plays. We haven't seen that from him yet. That's another thing with Minkah. So Minkah is a guy that I was gonna say I want to look to step up here and start to be more like of the splash guy that he was in the past. It's going on. We're over like a whole season now, like about 17 or 18 games where he just hasn't had a turnover. And that's something I want to see from him. So, yeah, he's the guy that I'm saying needs to step up a little bit here. And then from a guy who's going to step up, he had a good game this week. So I was thinking Najee, but I just can't. He's burned me too many times. I think the guy that we may have forgotten a little bit because of the injury and everything, Jaylen Warren is going to be my guy who's going to step up and play a big role for the next few weeks. I think he got his feet wet last week. He's such a good pass blocker in the backfield, pass protection guy that it's a little underrated. But there was even last week he had some plays where he just stood up some good players. And Max Crosby even that he stood him up a couple times. I think he's going to come in here and play a solid role as a runner. So those are my two names. Minkah, the guy that needs to step up, and Jaylen Warren's a guy that I think is going to actually step up himself.
I think those are great picks. Yeah, great picks for sure.
Yep. So we both got the Steelers winning this week against the Jets. Sunday Night Football. I had 23-16. I'm sorry, I forgot what score you had.
20-13.
20-13 on your way. Yeah. So there we go. Lee, I'll see you next week or see you Sunday
night. Real quick,
night,
do you have any offensive, defensive players of the game, do you think?
I'm going to go with the debuting Russell Wilson as my offensive MVP.
Yeah.
And then defensively, let's go with Joey Porter. We didn't mention him doing any of that stuff. Let's get him an interception this week. How about that?
Okay, I like it. For me, I'm going to go with I went with him before. Haven't seen it since the Chargers, but I'm going to go Calvin Austin on offense. I think he's going to have some nice plays on offense. And then on defense, I think Orlando Roberts is going to be
there we go. Nice. Okay, cool.
Defense is going to make some plays, probably have a couple sacks, I think. He's going to step up and do something. So I think he's going to be the guy on defense.
Yeah, I like that. So our predictions for this week. Lee, I'll see you Sunday night, most likely. If this game goes into a rain delay, maybe not Sunday night. We'll see how it goes.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll see you. Yeah. There it is.